This Labor Day, say goodbye to spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with WashableSofas.com, featuring Anabay, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $6.99, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through Labor Day, get up to 60% off site-wide at WashableSofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
It's KFI AM 640, and you're listening to The Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app.
Alone without Conway today on a Tuesday. We've been watching these thunderstorms develop. It's been off and on showers. Some of them are really intense, but they do appear to be diminishing, and there might be one rumbling around by morning, but after that, it's going to be a fair weather and a warm-up, I guess, into the weekend. There's kind of a really disturbing, I think you'll find it as disturbing as I do, trend targeting veterans, scams that are going after these heroes. I mean, these people who put their lives on the line. They serve in many theaters of war. They just serve their country in many ways that involve supreme sacrifices. And according to data from AARP, there is a rash of these scams. Nearly 9 in 10 service members and veterans have been targeted by a military service-related scam in just the last year. In the past 5 years, the FTC is showing scammers have taken $1.4 billion from veterans. It is a brutal, brutal trend. And apparently it shows no signs of abating. In fact, it looks like it's picking up momentum. Don't take my word for it. Take their word for it.
The numbers here are just absolutely jaw-dropping, so let's walk you through them. Nearly 9 in 10 service members and veterans have been targeted by a military service-related scam, and that is just in the past year. And in the past 5 years, have ripped off from our veterans a whopping $1.4 billion with a B dollars. One SoCal sister is devastated after scammers drained her brother's bank account.
I would just like to see these people caught.
This woman doesn't want you to know her name because she is so terrified of the scammers who have bilked her brother out of his VA disability payments. She asked us not to show his face as well, and you can understand why she's afraid.
One of the guys threatening him and got my phone number.
Threatened you how? What did he say to you?
Well, he told me he was going to kill my little brother if I didn't pay.
Right now, her brother is in the hospital after suffering a series of mini strokes.
I have to say, though, that the scam itself, you're probably curious about, is wildly extreme. Well, give a listen, and I think you'll agree.
But this story really starts after he came home from Operation Desert Storm. Did that combat change him at all?
It did.
Do you think your brother suffers from PTSD?
I do.
She says her brother never addressed his PTSD and has felt chronically lonely several years ago, and he has spiraled ever since.
But I personally think those scammers were done with them. They just handed him off to somebody else.
And even while he's in a hospital, one of the con jobs that cost him came from a celebrity impersonator.
The other scammer is pretended to be Pink, the entertainer. And her daughter, and the little girl calls him Daddy.
How much money has this cost your brother?
Over the last 5 years, I would say.
Does he have even a penny left?
Over the last 5 years, the cost to her brother is $300,000. He's a veteran in a hospital bed now. And again, the scammer pretended to be Pink. And again, you might think, well, how could he believe that? But, you know, when you factor in PTSD, loneliness, all of these other things, and I'm sure a scam that's probably pretty well developed, apparently it was believable enough for him to start forking over money.
Does he have even a penny left to his name?
Yeah.
Veterans are 40% more likely to lose money as a result of these scams.
Dan Clare with Disabled American Veterans says vets need to be hyper vigilant because scammers specifically target them for their government benefits.
You need to kind of sadly assume that the people you're talking to, unless you know them very well, unless you're hearing their voice or seeing them in person, you kind of have to assume that they might be a scammer.
Yeah, advice you'll always remember there. Now, that sister says she has been able to stop both her brother's VA disability and Social Security payments, so at least that is now protected from those scammers. We did reach out to the VA for this story. This is now such a huge problem. The VA has its own fraud prevention kit. We have a link to that on abc7.com. And Mark and Michelle, that is really a great resource with tons of advice to really protect yourself. Because as we can see, I mean, it is just draining some veterans of every dollar that they own.
It is especially shameful to pick on veterans in that way.
Absolutely. After they served their country, they came home, and then they deal with this.
Yeah, you know, you find a lot of that predatory stuff going after groups that you just would think, you know, you would be off limits, right? I mean, you don't think of veterans as vulnerable that way. I mean, I think of veterans as we should step up our benefits to them, you know, that veterans' benefits are always on the line, insufficient. And if you can get into the system, the VA can be a good system. But I always feel as though those benefits are oftentimes inaccessible. There are a lot of veterans benefits cuts, as you know, that are on the chopping block now. And so I always feel like they're vulnerable from that standpoint. I didn't even think about the fact that they come back, they're not in the right head. He's still got PTSD from Iraq. And so all these years later, he could easily be victimized by even a scam that you'd go, well, come on, how could he believe that? Well, again, he's not seeing things quite as clearly all these years later. But it's a legit warning. And if you're a veteran, again, take a beat before you let anybody get their hands on your government money. When we come back, speaking of warnings, there is a wild warning involving dating apps used in Mexico. These are U.S. citizens who are vacationing there using these dating apps in Mexico. And the warning is a wild one. I'll share that with you next.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. On Demand from KFI AM 640.
We've been in between raindrops off and on. Now there is sunshine in Burbank anyway, but that's kind of the way it is. These isolated thunderstorms can be really intense. There were flash flood watches and warnings up for the Inland Empire earlier. So there is there's a clear issue with some Americans going to places in Mexico that you don't normally associate with any kind of real danger. Like, you know, I'm talking about major tourist places like Puerto Vallarta, beachside community. And now, U.S. citizens are being warned that they are being lured and kidnapped in places like Puerto Vallarta using dating apps in Mexico. Federal officials are saying this is getting to be frequent enough that they had to issue a warning. The U.S. Consulate General warning that victims of schemes like this kidnapped in Puerto Vallarta and areas of tourism in recent months, they're not really saying how often it happens. In other words, there are no real statistics on it, but apparently the crime has happened sufficiently enough that they felt that they had to issue a warning. Victims and their family members are extorted for large amounts of money in order to be released. Some of the victims met their captors in residences or hotel rooms. Officials don't specify what dating apps that were being used, but urging people to be careful while using data apps in Mexico. So it's really kind of left open to interpretation as to what dating apps they're using to target Americans. Also, authorities are saying that app users should only meet in public places, avoid isolated locations, and always tell a loved one where they plan on going. Also, any details of the person that they're supposed to be meeting, and that the app oftentimes should be shared with a family member so they know. They also advised, trust your instincts and call 911 in case of emergency. Is 911 a thing in Mexico too? I didn't know that. So you can call 911 as well as calling 911 here. You can call it in Mexico.
It's Nuevo Uno Uno.
Nuevo. Thank you. Of course, Nuevo Uno Uno. Narco corridos, or drug ballads, are more popular than ever in Mexico, where a generation that came of age, they say, during the drug war has embraced songs that recount both the spoils and the excessive violence of organized crime. Interesting. The whole world of narco corridos and the drug war, the underworld, the organized crime syndicates that work in Mexico, it's something that they're trying to reform, right? They have a new president, supposed to try to lay down a new kind of law, but it takes time. Dating apps have also been used, we should say, in the U.S. to target victims. In L.A., 4 people were violently robbed and a victim was shot off of a dating site, according to LAPD. So it's tricky. I mean, more and more they're using dating apps as methods to isolate you and to steal money from you. A male victim met with a woman that he connected with on a dating site on April 28th near Beverly Boulevard. According to LAPD, 2 more people arrived in a vehicle after he met with the girl, and one man pointed a gun at the victim and demanded his property. The assailants then went through his car, forced the victim to hand over his phone, provide the lock code, and they got away. So these are all things to be somewhat vigilant about. One place where you don't need to worry about it is Disneyland. It's the Disneyland Resort's 70th celebration, and it's not a celebration without you. With all the sights and laughter and fun, everyone's excited. KFI AM 640 wants to give you a chance to win a family 4-pack of 1-day, 1-park tickets to Disneyland Park or Disney California Adventure Park. Join this limited time event. Keep listening to KFI for your chance to celebrate with us. It's the 70th celebration. Celebrate with us. Offers subject to restrictions and change without notice. Had to read that last part, and it reminds me of doing a commercial. Usually it comes out with the legal, like, offers subject to restrictions and change without notice. They usually read it like really quickly at the end. Your mileage may vary. The spot I was doing is a radio commercial for I think it was a heart medication, like one of those statins or something. And there was a long list of side effects. So like 3/4 of the commercial is how good this product is. And the last 25% of the commercial was the side effects. May cause headaches, nausea, dizziness.
Loose stools.
Yeah, exactly. Loose stools, anal bleeding.
Ugh.
So they said to me, when you read the side effects, read them in the same way that you read the rest of the spot. Like, don't change the tone. don't say, offer subject to restrictions and change without notice. May cause headaches and anal bleeding. You're supposed to read it with the same, if you will, excitement and ebullience that you're celebrating the product. So the same thing that's going to give you freedom, reducing stroke risk, reducing heart attack. And then when you get to the side effects, you're supposed to read them in that same tone. So you're going, may cause headaches, dizziness, stomach viruses, or whatever, stomach pains.
So you're basically supposed to be joyous about it.
Yeah, exactly. It was weird to read these side effects with a smile. Like, may cause dizziness, anal bleeding. It was odd.
A little more excitement on that last one,
Yeah,
Mark.
that's right. Anal bleeding. So I just am reminded of that at the end of this spot where it says offer subject to restrictions and change without notice, But I just remember that note. They said right away, when you get to the side effects, don't change your tone, don't change your pace, read it the same way like you're selling the product. It was just the oddest note I'd received. So anyway.
Now I want to hear it.
Yeah, me too. I barely remember what the product was, but I remember it clearly. It was one of those weird notes, But anyway, this is the 70th celebration, and it's the Disneyland Resort. Everything is great. No side effects. 4-pack, 1 day, 1 park tickets, Disneyland Park or Disney California Adventure. Stay tuned to KFI for your chance to celebrate with us. It is the Conway Show. The 10 richest U.S. billionaires made a lot of money over the last year. The ultra-rich live a different life. We'll share a bit of it with you next.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. On Demand from KFI AM 640.
This Labor Day, say goodbye to spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with WashableSofas.com. Featuring Anabay, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $6.99, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through Labor Day, get up to 60% off site-wide at WashableSofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Have you gone to one of their live shows, Stafouche? You're a fan of Sabrina Carpenter?
I am. That was her performing at the BBC channel.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You haven't seen her in concert, though, yet?
I've talked about it with a couple of friends.
You can't get
and
me.
I'd be so self-conscious going by myself.
I see.
Because it would be full of moms and their daughters. I'd stick out like a sore thumb, and I'd probably come off as such a weirdo.
Oh, why? Because it's really it's not a
I'll happily admit I love her music, but physically being in an area where her music is playing, I think that would be a little out of place.
I see. Yeah. It's funny. I think I've mentioned this to you before. Maybe I mentioned it to somebody here at the station, but that I was in Vegas for an MMA fight with all of these big, roided, some of them are roided out guys with
nice.
The tat sleeves, and they're all wearing, big, just very masculine crew.
Yeah.
And, they're all friends of mine. We all kind of were hanging out together. And then after the show, I knew Madonna was playing in Vegas that weekend. And I wanted looking for somebody to go to Madonna with, But it was weird because they're all such, dudes.
Brutally masculine guys.
Yeah, I felt like I didn't want to float. Hey, does anybody want to go to Madonna with me? And so the fates reached down and did me a favor. One of the guys said, my buddy is running all of the visuals for Madonna's show.
No way.
And exactly what I said. And he said, I'm looking to see if anybody wants to go to that show maybe tomorrow night. And I said, oh my God, I'm dying to go to that show. And you know, we can go backstage after the show. And that's exactly what we did. So we bought tickets to the show. We bought sort of mid-range tickets. And then particularly with a lot of visuals like that, you don't want to sit too close to the stage. Maybe to see them all really in effect, you sit a little back from the stage. And it was an incredible show. We went backstage. I mean, didn't meet Madonna or anything, but ended up, he walked us through the entire thing. The visual, they run 2 computers parallel at the same time. There's total redundancy into the show. So if anything goes wrong, they just click over to the other program. And it was spectacular. At one point, she does a thing where she shows up in the middle of the crowd, like way out in the middle of the audience. So basically, he was showing us, she's backstage with a quick costume change, lies flat on this like sled type thing that's on wheels, and they roll her out, but like at a high speed, all the way down to the end of that crowd, and that's how she pops up in the middle. And he turns to me and he says, you want to get in the sled? Give it a try? I thought, yeah, let's do it. So I lie down in the sled, and this guy pushes me at like full speed out into what would be the crowd in the Madonna show.
That's awesome.
It was really cool, but it was all from that moment where I didn't want to say, does anybody want to go to the Madonna show with me? Because I was so afraid that these masculine dudes wouldn't be down with it. Anyway, it was really a special thing.
That's pretty cool.
I encourage you to go to Sabrina Carpenter if that's what you want to do.
One of these days.
Yeah. The wealthy, the ultra-rich, I mean, the ultra-rich are more than wealthy. They are sick wealthy. And finally, a window on their lives.
Super yachts, survivalist compounds. If you're a rich person, you love being a rich person, and you love spending that money. The number of American billionaires has skyrocketed. A lot more rich people out there, from just 66 back in 1990 to more than 800 today. Where are they partying together? There was a row of them, tech billionaires mostly, at President Trump's inauguration, proof of their growing influence in and on government. The New Yorker writer Evan Osnos has explored the lives of the wealthy and the role they play in our society. He does it in a new book, a collection of essays. It's called The Haves and the Have Yachts. Dispatches on the...
Come on! That's why he's a New Yorker writer. The Haves and the Have Yachts!
The New Yorker writer Evan Osnos has explored the lives of the wealthy and the role they play in our society. He does it in a new book, a collection of essays. It's called The Haves and the Have Yachts.
Yes.
Dispatches on the ultra-rich. Evan, good morning.
Thanks, Tony.
Billionaires, they are multiplying. I guess the market's doing that. Is that what happened here? And why is it a problem?
You know, the good news in some level is that this country's never been wealthier by many metrics. The bad news, of course, is that half of American adults will tell you that they couldn't absorb a $1,000 emergency expense. So what's going wrong? Part of the problem is that so much of the money today has gotten concentrated into the hands of so few. It's actually even more than it was in the Gilded Age. I mean, America's richest people today have a larger share of our nation's overall wealth than the Vanderbilts and the Carnegies and the Rockefellers did. So the question is, what do we do now, right? We're at this kind of fork in the road. Part of the reason to write a book like this is to say, let's take something abstract that we kind of feel around us, a little bit like climate change, and actually let's put some numbers on it so that people can make choices before it's too late.
So how limited?
I don't feel like it's a choice at this point, at least personally. I think the ship's kind of sailed. The yachts left the harbor for me. But I see what you're saying, maybe in terms of leadership, politically, I don't know.
How limited is the money that circulates in the economy? Money can always be printed, but as the wealthier are getting wealthier, does that mean other people are getting poorer?
Well, I mean, in an ideal scenario, it lifts all boats, right? And we've had moments in our history in the 20th century, particularly after World War II, when you had this surge of innovation and you had factories being built. And it was, in fact, what they call the Great Compression. That's when inequality actually declined. That period ended in the late 70s, early 80s, and we are now at some of the highest levels of inequality that have ever been recorded. And guys, it's not just in the United States. I talked to archaeologists for this book to say, put this in context for me, and they said, well, the people who built the pyramids were living in a less unequal society.
Wow.
Okay, so are rich people, the ultra-rich, a problem if they are using their money to invest and those investments become businesses and those businesses employ people and juice the economy? In other words, a defense of rich people would include they are lifting through their largesse so many other people. And this being America, we all have a chance to be that guy.
Well, I mean, he just told you that they're not lifting the rest of it.
We all have a chance to be that guy.
All right.
Absolutely. Look, that's an essential piece of the American story. And I think if you actually look at American attitudes, we're pretty ambivalent about big money. 59% of Americans last year in a poll said they want to become a billionaire.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I always feel like I'm not dumping on rich people. I mean, rich people, we're all trying to be rich, you know. But you do have to look at the balance of the economy and the elimination of the middle class. We lived in that post-World War II era where there was a thriving, robust middle class. It just doesn't exist anymore.
And the almost identical share of Americans, 60%, said billionaires are making the country less fair.
No, there's that too. All right, yes. And
we're both cynical and aspirational at the same time.
Well, my aspirational flame has been turned down. And now my cynical flame has been turned way up. It's on high. And I'm bringing my cynical flame, and you won't find an aspirational flame. I know that the billionaire aspiration that might have typified a Mark Thompson in his 20s doesn't exist anymore. So it's straight up cynicism. Anyway, if you want to read that entire piece, I guess it's in the New Yorker, and there's a new book about the ultra-rich. Yeah. The haves and the have yachts.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
This Labor Day, say goodbye to spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with WashableSofas.com. Featuring Anna Bay, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $6.99, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through Labor Day, get up to 60% off site-wide at WashableSofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
That was an old school kind of roll in on that intro. Reminds me of the old days, you know, where everything was back time perfectly and, you know, good stuff. Yeah, that's a call back to the Madonna story. It is KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Mark Thompson here for Conway. We're hoping that he gets well soon. He has lost his voice, and so normally I'd be sitting here with him. And tonight, no. Mo Kelly is moments away. You know, if you have been around Waymo, the driverless vehicles, you know that they are by law, I believe, required to beep as they reverse. So, have you been in a Waymo before? Anybody taken a ride in a Waymo? I've ridden in a bunch of them. And in San Francisco, they're everywhere. And now in LA, they're in a bunch of places. And once you get past the fact that there's no driver, it's really pretty much like sitting in any kind of ride. You can adjust the temperature. You can adjust the music. They kind of give the passenger all this control. But if you're not a passenger, it is the case that when the car backs up, there is a beeping sound. Again, it's required by law. Well, Santa Monica residents are not happy with the beeping sound, and now they are messing with the Waymo rides to make their displeasure clear.
Well, Waymo tells me that they have multiple lots throughout Los Angeles where their cars are able to go and charge. But really the controversy is surrounding the two located right here in Santa Monica. I'm standing in front of both of them. There's one right next to each other here. And you can see the Waymo lined up those cars one after the other. And the residents tell us, the ones who at least live right next to these charging lots, that there is noise coming from these areas all day and all night. Really, when it comes to the backing up beeping of these cars, and it is creating this controversy and creating this battle between the company Waymo and the residents that is now reaching a whole new level.
Well, I mean, the point is, and the same thing happened in San Francisco. It's a nuisance. I mean, can you imagine all day, all night in the parking lot where the Waymo vehicles are now backing up because they're parking and being recharged or whatever it is, or they're just in the lot overnight? I mean, they're constantly using this lot, so they're constantly backing up, which means there's constant beeping right next door to the way you live.
24 hours noise. If you watch this, especially come at nighttime, I could go to sleep and then a couple hours later I'm waking up because I'm hearing the noise. I can't even have my windows open, only during the day. So I don't know what to do. City councils, I've notified them, but why'd they put this right here in residential? That's why I just don't understand.
Now, residents have been reported using cones, cars, and sometimes even themselves, blocking the Waymos from entering the charging parking lot. It's gotten to a point where the company has reportedly called the cops on residents half a dozen times, with residents saying they've called the city, they've called Waymo, but that backup beeping continues to keep them up at night. Now, it's important to note here, federal regulations require electric cars to make a sound when backing up to alert pedestrians and cyclists, with Waymo releasing this statement to us saying this morning, quote, "We strive to be good neighbors in the cities that we operate and are committed to being a positive presence in Santa Monica. We are in ongoing conversation with the city's Department of Transportation and are actively working with the agency as we explore and implement mitigations that address neighbors' concerns."
I mean, they've got to figure out something because this existing setup just doesn't work. You know that they're a Google company, Waymo.
No improvement. Why are they even using the alley? They could have put the gate on that road right there, and so it would be open, not so it's all busy like this. I mean, they just made it, put the wrong doors going out. I just don't know why it's here.
Back here live at the charging lot, you're looking at some of those mitigations. Waymo is telling us this morning that they put in these plants that you see around the entire lot to keep to block the light.
They're trying to baffle the sound. I see.
And help block some of the noise. Also, they've said that employees are instructed to keep noise levels down. So that means not playing music loud at night in consideration of the neighbors. Also, don't use any of the vacuums overnight between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. also to help with that noise. But residents here saying that noise really coming from that incessant beeping sound that comes every time a Waymo backs up into one of these parking spaces. They say when you think about one Waymo car, it's not that bad, but all of these in their fleet of just over 50 adds up and keeps them up at night. I spoke to one resident who says it's not that big of an issue, but the majority of folks that we've spoken to say it's a real problem and it hasn't stopped.
Yeah, you know, I did a show in San Francisco for a few years, as you're aware, maybe some of you, and I know this story pretty well because that's where Waymo, I think, first got rolled out, and there was the same issue with San Francisco residents in high rises right alongside the parking lot. This backing up beeping sound is driving people crazy. And so they complain, they kind of take official channels initially, but then they do things like setting up cones, and they just view the Waymo vehicles as the enemy. So they want to do anything that they can do to screw with them. And that's what's happening in Santa Monica right now. So right now it's a stalemate. Even as they say they're trying to take care of things, Waymo does. Thanks to all the Conway kids. Appreciate all the help. Stafouche, Crozier, Angel, Sharon. Hopefully Conway's better tomorrow, but if not, I will be standing by if necessary. Speaking
we'll
of
see you
standing
tomorrow, Mark.
Oh, that's right. He needs one more day.
As of right now.
Okay. Speaking of standing by, Mo. I mean, the real production starts now. Mo Kelly's next. We're KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Now, you can always hear us live on KFI AM 640, 4 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and anytime on demand on the iHeartRadio app.
This Labor Day, say goodbye to spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with WashableSofas.com. Featuring Anna Bay, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $6.99, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anna Bay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slip covers are made with high-performance fabric built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through Labor Day, get up to 60% off site-wide at WashableSofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.